month, except for next week, we will explore the New Thought, religious science teachings, kind of, that are found in the classic movie, The Wizard of Oz. Has anyone not seen The Wizard of Oz? Okay. Because I've decided to change the movie. I decided last night, right before I went to bed, to change the movie for November to be The Wizard of Oz. And it's 103 minutes long, because we just looked it up, so it's in our time frame. So we're going to be showing The Wizard of Oz the second week in November, which coincides with the last of the 4 talks on The Wizard of Oz. So it'll be really good, and then we always do a short discussion afterwards. So I thought that would be really cool, so I ordered it last night. We're going to all be seeing The Wizard of Oz. How cool for the holidays, for life, for everything. And you'll understand why when we get through these 4 series of talks on the Wizard of Oz. And now next week we have our practitioner, a wonderful speaker, Bill Clark, doing the message, Steps to Inner Peace. And then I'm going to be back to thought. Well, I'm going to be here. He's going to talk. But partying, I'm sorry. I'm going to party the night before, so I just wanted to have like somebody really focus for you. Now, the following Sunday, the name of the talk would be If I Only Had a Brain. And that will be given by me, and I really don't expect any comments on that. But that is the name of the talk, If I Only Had a Brain. So this morning, we are going to look at the greatest gift with which we are endowed besides life itself, and that is the gift of choice. As Carol's readings indicated this morning, choice. We all have choice, and that's what we're going to get into today. So we begin our journey with Dorothy, and we see that with choice, all choice comes natural results or consequences, always. We choose, there is always a consequence or a result. Immediate. That's the way the law works. So we find out with Dorothy, we explore with her the consequences of her choices and ours as she moves along this journey to Oz and back again. Ernest Holmes, the founder of Science of Mind, writes, "We have the ability to choose what we will do with our lives and are unified with a law which automatically produces our choices. While we do not have the ability to destroy the divine idea of ourselves, we do have the ability to deface it, to make it appear discordant. There is a perfect concept of each of us in the mind of the divine as an already accomplished fact. But we are subject to the law of our own choice." That is what Ernest Holmes wrote. Every choice we make, whether or not we make it consciously or through default, has a consequence. It has that natural result. In fact, we could say that our lives are a natural result of the compilation of our choices, all the choices that we have made in life. And you might argue, well, I didn't choose this dysfunctional family I was brought into. I didn't choose this illness I have. I didn't choose all kinds of things that we might find ourselves in. And we could say that because there are other people, and especially in our teaching, that will say, yes, you choose every single thing that you experience. But for today, for the sake of today, we're going to say, let's just say that we didn't choose that. It just is. Okay, these are the things that are in our lives, these situations, these different, I don't want to call them challenges, these different challenges in our lives. Sometimes we have really smooth sailing and there aren't challenges, but once in a while there might be a challenge. But you see, from the place of the condition, and we talked about this very subject in our practitioner class on Thursday night. We talked about this, so it was like perfect for this. We are in the place of isness. This is what we are experiencing right here and right now. Okay, whatever we're going through or you know, making choices about, This is what we are experiencing right now. But this is the moment we get to choose. This is the moment we begin a new cause. This is the moment we start that whole law of cause and effect into motion. Because every choice we make has an effect. Every single choice. So no matter what takes place, we can choose anew from right here, right now. We only have now. We don't have yesterday. We don't have tomorrow. We have now, right here, right now. And we want to respond when we make these choices. We don't want to just simply react, because the reaction is just that automatic. Where with the response, which I've learned maybe in the last 10 years, because it took me a long time to learn that you don't have to react to everything that goes on. You can step back for a moment, take a breath, think, and respond. So much better. So much better. The choices you make are more conscious. The reactionary movement to something in your life that you want to make a decision about will cause, it won't cause the harmony and the peace and the thoughtfulness, the consciousness of the choice to come through. So when you step back for a moment, say, I don't have to respond right now. I can take a moment and then make your decision. So choice is what we're going to really be talking about this morning. And always, a new choice will start the new cause, always. Cause and effect, everyone is familiar with that, right? Because we talk about it all the time, the laws. And so this is the law of cause and effect. And today we're watching The Secret, which is all about manifesting and how we manifest through our thought. So that's what we're going to be talking about. And since Thursday, this was really interesting. Since Thursday, and we had that discussion, I had 3 different people say to me, well, I didn't have a choice. In conversation. Well, this happened, but I really didn't have a choice. Even about me. Oh, well, this happened to you, but you really didn't have a choice. And because we just had this discussion, I went, whoa, yeah, I did have a choice. We always, that's something for us to always remember, we always have a choice. We always have a choice. It might look like we don't, but we do. We always have a choice. Both the conscious and the unconscious choices Dorothy made in her life situation caused her life to spin out of control like a tornado. This is the perfect example of the law of our own choice. That's what Ernest Holmes calls it. The law of our own choice. Another name would be the law of cause and effect. So the Wizard of Oz trivia question this morning that I have for you is, does anyone know Dorothy's last name? That's like a great big prize to give away. Gale.
Gale, that's right.
So how appropriate is that? Dorothy Gale.
Gale.
That is Dorothy's last name. Now you all know it. So that's really cool. So let's look briefly at Dorothy's life as the movie begins. Okay? Dorothy runs home to tell Auntie Em and Uncle Henry that old Miss Gulch hit Toto with a rake and threatened to involve the sheriff in this whole situation, merely because the dog gets into her backyard and messes around with her mean old cat. But Auntie Em and Uncle Henry, they don't seem to care. Don't bother us, dear, with this right now, because they were more concerned with these chicks they had, that they were going into this incubator, and the incubator was not working. So they were rushing these little chicks under the hens that they had to save them, to keep them to grow. So they were not concerned with Dorothy's subject at all. Their incubator had gone bad, all right, and Auntie Em was going to lose these chicks, but what Auntie Em didn't realize is that she was going to lose the one chick, Dorothy. Dorothy's Kansas, if you remember in the movie, is bleak and gray, and it's depicted in black and white in the movie. Remember that? Because it's missing the love. It's missing, as Ernest Holmes would say, the warmth and color that love brings. It's missing the love that would otherwise color her world. And Dorothy desperately yearns for the one thing we all yearn for, and that is love. Small children, this is a natural thing that we yearn for, love. We want to be loved. But Auntie Em and Uncle Henry don't seem capable of giving it. Maybe you knew a couple of people like that in your life. In fact, Auntie Em threatens her niece and treats her as a nuisance and leaves her alone to work out her own problems. So Dorothy chooses to focus all of her affection on her little dog, Toto. Remember Toto? Yeah. She loves this dog unconditionally, so it gives her a taste of affection. Because here's a living creature that's loving her back. So here's where Dorothy's choices get really interesting. Why would she then endanger Toto's life by letting her run in this mean-spirited Miss Gulch's yard every day? Hunk, one of the farmhands, tries to get Dorothy to step back and notice her unconscious choices. When you go home, don't go past Miss Gulch's backyard. Don't go past there, and Toto won't go in there, and he won't get into trouble, you see? But Dorothy obviously wants to get into trouble. And she gets more trouble than she bargained for when Miss Gulch and the sheriff show up at her front door to take the dog. And nobody can stop them from taking Toto, if you remember the movie. So she sacrificed Toto, the one love that she had, the thing she loved the most, in an attempt to get the attention, the love, of people who quite obviously are not capable of giving it to her. So at a subtle level, probably because she was hurt and angry at not getting that love, so it's a subconscious kind of a decision that she made by letting Toto run into Miss Gulch's backyard. When Toto makes his valiant escape from Miss Gulch's, remember when he jumped out of the basket? Yeah. Dorothy runs away. She runs away. She grabs him up and she runs away. And of course we know that because of that choice, she ultimately gets caught up in that cyclone and winds up over the rainbow in the land of Oz. If you get caught up in a cyclone because you ran away from home or saving your dog from being destroyed by the sheriff, because you let the dog run through a mean old maid's garden, you might want to stop and ask yourself. We might want to ask ourselves in our decisions in life, can I afford the consequence of my choice? Can I afford the consequence of my choice? Remembering that every choice has a natural effect. Something always comes from every choice that we ever make. Choose wisely. Because we don't get to have a say in the consequences. We make the choice and the consequences automatically go into the law and manifest and demonstrate themselves in our lives as the effect. It's the natural outworking of the law. We only have a say in our choices. So we can choose. But most of us have not been taught to think and choose consciously. So we've been doing it from the effect to the effect to from the effect, from that whole cycle, but I always do this, from this whole effect cycle. So we choose from the effect instead of going to a different thought, a whole new way of thinking, a new cause, new effect. So we could possibly avoid the nightmarish trips over the rainbow if we consciously become aware of our choices in Kansas. And Kansas can represent our life territory, where we are right now, whatever ground that we stand on, whatever circumstance or situation that we're in. All we have to do is step back and observe the choices that we make in every moment. And it's wonderful to take that breath in between and to choose consciously. And not just, if you're a fixer, if you have that whole mentality of, I gotta make this right, I gotta fix this right away. Step back, take a breath, and make a conscious choice. So much better will the outcome be. And I have learned that. A lot of trial and error. A lot of error. But I've learned to, I don't have to make a decision in this instant, in this second. I don't have to react. I don't have to fix anything. There's nothing to fix. So perhaps, just perhaps, Dorothy should have stopped and thought, what compelled her to let her allow her dog to run through Miss Gulch's backyard? The law of cause and effect is always working, so, as I said, it's either consciously or through default. Subconsciously, it's going to act anyway. We just possibly could avoid a nightmarish trip over the rainbow if we become conscious of our choices. Auntie Em and Uncle Henry do not treat you as you want them to. You could choose to feel hurt and rejected, like Dorothy. Then you might choose to vent your anger and hostility onto someone like Miss Gulch. You may think that Aunt Em and Uncle Henry are the cause of your problems. Like you might think that, you know, if you were in a loveless home as a child, that, you know, oh, my parents were, that whole story, that a tape that we run in our head, if they had done this differently, if they had been better, if they would have loved me more, they're the cause. They're not the cause. Whatever you impulsively react to something, you are actually choosing whether you are conscious of it or not. Whether you are 3, 4, 5, 6, the law is no respecter of age. So the law doesn't care if you're 98 or if you're 3. Children are using this creative law all of the time. They're using it. So if like Dorothy, your whole life revolves around pain, and so far hers had revolved around pain, or not receiving Auntie Em's love, then every choice is going to be about trying to get that love. Trying to get that love, or to protect yourself from the hurt that you feel from not having it. And then what we do then is sometimes well, I think most of us, for myself I can speak, it's true, we build up a wall around our heart to protect ourselves, so that we won't feel that pain all the time. So as little children, we usually start out doing this, and we start building this, it's like a cement wall, but we're not even aware of it. And it really is our ego's way of protecting us. That's the good ego. It protects us. It allows us to move on with life, even though we could be in a lot of pain. The trouble with that is that when we get older, and we decide we want to be in love, or we want to have this wonderful, healthy life, we can't do it because we got this big, fat, concrete wall up around ourselves. So then we start doing this spiritual work, and we start to realize, wow, you know, as things get lighter, as brick by brick that wall kind of comes down, especially when we do the forgiveness work, it comes down, and we go, wow, I'm feeling something here in my heart center. What is that? You know, that's the stuff we've shut down at a very young age. That's the love that we've shut down. And so you could choose to let go of trying to, at this point in your life, right now, of trying to get the love from one particular person or one particular place. For me, it really is going within and getting the love from me to me first. That is the key. That is probably the most important relationship that anyone could ever have, is the love and the respect that you have for your own self. How can you give away what you don't have? If you don't love yourself fully and completely, you can't give it away. You can't give, not really, not really. And then you're always going to be dependent on someone else like Dorothy was. Whenever you're faced with a choice, consider the question, will this choice bring me happiness? It's a great question. Think about that. Before you make a decision, will this decision bring me happiness? Or another quality, peace. Will this decision bring me peace? It'll keep you aligned, and it'll keep you guided to make the highest choice for yourself. Whenever you are faced with a choice, consider that one. Michael Myriad wrote in his book, The 7 Initiations of the Spiritual Path. I liked this very much, so I want to read this to you. The gifts of awakening the heart center are beyond measure. As Charles Dickens wrote, a loving heart is the truest wisdom. The opening of the heart center is synonymous with the quickening of the soul. It is not something that can be faked or contrived, nor is it fleeting or temporary. The love of an open heart center is real, authentic, and powerful. So moving our conversation then from the metaphysical to the physical for a moment, Bruce Lipton is a research scientist, medical school professor, and author, and he wrote the book Biology of Belief. But he made an amazing discovery about biological information and biological mechanisms, and this is by which the cells within us, because we are beings, we're a walking mass of cells. That's what we are. We're a compilation of cells. So he made this discovery by which the cells receive and process information. Rather than our genes controlling us, he has discovered that genes are in fact controlled by environmental influences outside of themselves, outside of the cells, including our thoughts and our beliefs, the choices that we make, our thoughts and our beliefs. That's what constitutes, what we choose is what we believe. And we can change our beliefs by changing what we're thinking. Change your thinking, change your life. Accordingly, we are not victimized then by biological inheritances from our ancestors. So if you're walking around saying, well, I'm going to get this kind of heart disease or whatever it is because it runs in the family, you're making a choice to believe that. Yeah. Believe again. Believe again. They're proving it. They're proving it scientifically. Believe again. We truly are co-creators of our lives, and that's what we got to move into, that whole realization that we create with the substance of God's good all the time. We co-create our lives, and supported by that infinite love, which is God. Accordingly, then, we are not victimized by these biological inheritances from our ancestors. Rather, we truly are the co-creators. New science, it's called the New Science, which is it's over 20 years old now, but is only recently becoming into the awareness of everyone. It's called Epigenetics. Epigenetics. And until the discovery of epigenetics, it was believed that a cell's nucleus, this is interesting, a cell's nucleus, which contains the DNA and was pre-programmed, so to speak, was the brain of the cell. Not necessary for its functioning, quite necessary, excuse me, for its functioning. However, science is now discovering that cells can live and function quite well even after the nuclei has been removed. The real brain of the cell is its membrane, which reacts and responds to outside influences, right? Dynamically adjusting to an ever-changing environment. So as human beings, a collection of cells that we are, what does that mean for us? What does that mean for us? It means that we encounter various environmental influences and we tell our genes what to do. And we usually do this unconsciously. If we're believing in a certain trait that runs through the family, if we're believing that certain things cause, these are all choices we're making subconsciously, and it influences our DNA, our cellular structure. A few years ago, the American Cancer Society released a surprising statistic. They said that 60% of cancer, right, is avoidable by changing one's lifestyle and diet. In other words, by making different choices. And this is coming from an organization that for the past 50 years, they have been looking for the cancer gene. They've been looking for the cancer gene. Maybe it doesn't exist. Maybe it doesn't exist. They are now saying it's not so much your genes, but the kind of life that you live, the choices that you make, what kind of lifestyle you are enjoying. Are you thinking uplifting thoughts? Are you putting nourishing food into your body? Are you moving this massive cells around and letting it just, you know, express itself in joy and in exercise? So this is all the new paradigm we're moving into, and it's all about choice. It's all about choice. Perhaps it's time we quit going through life making bad, unconscious choices. So I'm offering you today the fact that it's a fact, you can make conscious choices. You can tell by how your body feels. So if you're not feeling right about something, pay attention to that physicality. It's talking to you. You have an intuition that's running through your body that's giving you guidance. Listen to it. Listen to it. It will guide you into the perfect decision. So it could be quite unnecessary for us to walk by any Miss Gulch's houses, refusing to cope with any kinds of Kansas stuff and running away from our problems because, like Dorothy, we will have to deal with the natural results. There's no way of getting away from the consequences, as I said, of our choices. Cause and effect. So we cannot live a choiceless life. Remember that. We cannot live a choiceless life. Every single thing we do, think, say, feel is a choice. So subconsciously or consciously, there is a choice. So today, choose what will serve you. What will serve you? Make the choice that helps make your life better, because in making your life better, then you benefit this planet. Then you benefit everyone who you contact. Will you choose to serve love, happiness, peace, plenty, power? In other words, God. Be in alignment. We talk about being in alignment with spiritual truth every week here. That spiritual truth will guide you because it's your inner essence within you that is, the spiritual truth is alive within that. That's the part that we can't alter, destroy, or change in any way. That's the part that will guide us. That's the part that gives us intuitive messages to move us in the right direction. If we but recognize it through meditation and going within and really conversing with it, you will get great guidance. Or will you choose to live from a place of lack and limitation, a place of fear, a place where things just never work out right for me? Just never work out right for me. Because that is, you know, of course, in Miracles had it right. It's either love or fear. The choice is there for us to make. So you get to decide how to live your life. No one can live it. Remember that. Nobody can live your life for you. Nobody can. So if you're running around trying to make everybody happy in your choices, it's not going to work for you. You can choose to make you happy first. Then everything else unfolds. The consequences are natural. So then the question I leave you with, can you afford the consequences of your choice? That's what I leave you with. Make a right decision. Make one that benefits you.